He is the Chicago Cubs owner. He's Tom Ricketts, who joins us from New York City. Tom, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning, and is a happy birthday in order
Well,
today? Is that the theme of the show today?
I just spilled coffee all over my shoes, and so I had to take off my shoes and socks. It's great. But what'd you get me for my birthday?
A phone call?
Okay, I'll take that.
Well, we'll send something. We'll send something nice to you.
Yeah. How about a big chunk of ivy? Can I get that?
You know, I bet we could arrange that.
Can you buy that ivy? Is that special ivy at Wrigley Field?
I don't know if there's anywhere to buy that. I don't think so. I think that, I don't think you can take clippings. I know we don't let people touch it. So I don't think there's anywhere to buy that, but it's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I would imagine you could market that, and you could sell, your Wrigley ivy.
Maybe that's something we should work on.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's how you renovate Wrigley. You can make some money that way. But
that'll get us one free agent. All the ivy sales.
Give me your vision of Wrigley. What you see happening at Wrigley Field.
Well, the vision that we have is one where we want to take the entire experience of coming to Wrigley and just make it better all the way around. All the way from when you get off the train or get out of your car. We want to improve the neighborhood around it. We want to do more for families outside the park, and make it a better experience. But when you walk into the park, the key is most people, almost everyone, when they get to their seat, they're happy. That's the place they want to be. It's obviously a beautifully laid out park. It's intimate. Everyone feels like it's the best place to watch baseball. But when you get up and you go in the concourse and it's crowded, or you have to wait in line for food, or wait in line to use the restroom or whatever, we got to improve all that stuff. So our vision is not just basically preserve it and restore it to the days when it looked great, but to just make it a better experience for fans when they're there. And I think we're kind of on the right track, and we're moving forward on that.
Okay, improve the neighborhood. What's that mean?
Well, we've got land on the west side of the park, and instead of when we bought the team, the people that owned it before us were just going to put a big building there. We decided not to do that. We're going to build a plaza, like an open space that we can do different things on game days and non-game days. And then across the street, what's been just a parking lot and a McDonald's will now be a nice hotel that will also look nice and be consistent with the look and feel of the park, and just create just a better general ambiance around the whole experience.
What's the negative here that I'm not? There's a disconnect here with what people want, what you want, what they expect, tradition. What's the number one point here?
Number one point of
contention, fans' contention, or like I would think if you want to improve the neighborhood and do all of those things, you should be able to. You're going to be putting a lot of your own money into it. But
yep.
Okay, so what's the blowback here?
I think at this point we've gotten through most of the people that are concerned with the plans. The neighbors have some legitimate concerns. Obviously, they're concerned about parking and security and those kind of issues, and we've addressed some of those in the proposal. One of the things that we are going to do is put a video board out in left field. That's part of the plan, and there's been some people who are concerned about that, but almost all of the people we survey of our fans and season ticket holders are in favor of it. So that's going forward. We do have a little bit of a rub sometimes with the rooftop guys across the street, but I think we're working through that too to make sure that what we do, what signs and what video, what the video board looks like won't block them too much. So we're kind of grinding through it. I mean, when you say you're going to do something to Wrigley, a lot of people get concerned, but I think we've addressed most of those concerns, and I think we're just plowing forward.
He's Tom Ricketts, the Cubs owner, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. And I know I don't know if you hinted, but just the possibility of maybe leaving Wrigley. I'm paraphrasing here, but Was that a mistake to even hint at that?
Well, no. In the context of the question, basically the question was, what if you're not able to put any type of signage or video board in your outfield? And I said at that point, then we'd have to put some options back on the table. But I think people read a lot into that. But the key is, and we've been pretty consistent about this the whole time, is it's our goal to save Wrigley. We on the very first day that we owned the team, I came out and said that, and I think we've been pretty consistent on that. And so, when that one came out, when I said that, it was in response to a question at a talk I gave. I think people kind of reacted to it, but our goal is to save the park, and we're moving forward.
Can the Cubs compete for a title without these improvements?
Well, I think so, yes, but the key is, aside from hiring the right people, the only thing I can do is try to generate as much revenue as I can to help Theo do his job. And and the kind of improvements will not only save the park for the next generation of fans, but it will bring in some more revenues, which will ultimately give the baseball guys more resources to work with.
How long have you been a Cubs fan?
Since I suppose about 30 years, I guess. My first Major League Baseball game was in Wrigley, and I moved to Chicago in 1983. So I've been a Cubs fan for a long time.
But as a Cubs fan, what was it about the ballpark? You had to love the ballpark, but what is it that you're saying that it really needs? What's it missing, in your opinion?
Well, I think there's two things. Number one is we do have to kind of bring it into the 21st century in terms of making sure people have more information. There's everybody now is when they have a question or when they have they want to know a stat or they want to see a replay, they're looking down at their iPhones. We want them looking up at the field and looking at the video board, and so I think that's a big piece that's missing. But just as importantly, we've fallen behind in our ability to provide more food options. There just hasn't been much invested in the park in a long time. So just making it a more convenient place to watch a game is very important, and that means more. We're going to put about 50% more bathrooms in. We're going to have about 50% more places to go get food. So anyway, there's just a lot of things that can be improved. What isn't going to change, and we're not going to fix what isn't broken, which is the vibe at Wrigley and just the way you feel when you're sitting in your seat.
What did you learn from what the Bears did at Soldier Field, where they had the new with the old? Although I'm not a big fan of it. It doesn't match, but what to do and what not to do.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's a spaceship. What do you think of it? You got Soldier Field, and then you got that spaceship that landed in there.
Soldier Field obviously is for a fan experience, it's great. On the inside, it works really well. It does look a little awkward. I think it was obviously a compromise to save the old columns and yet build a modern park. But with Wrigley, what we're going to do is we've gone back and looked at all the old photos over the years, and we think that it really was at its best in around 1935. And since then, much of the upkeep has really kind of been cheap fixes or just unattractive kind of replacements for attractive original features. So we're going to put back in a lot of the original brick. There's some really cool tiles that we have that we put in. A lot of, instead of chain link fence, we're going to put back in the kind of this decorative wrought iron fencing. And so not only will people be able to have a better day at the park, but when they walk up, they're gonna really be blown away with how great it looks.
And I think you could use Fenway as the model since 1912 when both were built. But Fenway has modernized, but still kept that charm there. Is that the model, the blueprint for what you can do at Wrigley?
Yeah, there's a lot to that. There's a couple things you can take from Fenway. One is that they modernized it without losing the charm, just like you said. And secondly, they did it in a series of off seasons. So we've worked with the people that they've worked with to help us get ready to do that and to plan those off seasons. So we don't have to make it all up. We can take a lot from what they did.
What do you think of these owners who ask for taxpayers to build stadiums, renovate stadiums?
Well, I think that every situation is different, but the fact is that sports franchises do create a lot of economic value. They drive a lot of dollars to the to the neighborhood or to the city. So, I think it's a fair trade in most cases.
Yeah, but you put up money, whereas the Dolphins owners, they're not. I have a problem with that because, it's your team. You put in the improvements. You're still going to make money from it. Guys don't go into this to lose money. And I think with the Dolphins ownership, hey, if you don't build it or refurbish it, then we're going to move it. I just think it's unfair to hold the taxpayers, the fans, hostage. And that's what these guys do sometimes, Tom.
Well, I just think every case is different. I think in our case, we're just really committed to all the history and charm of Wrigley, and basically our message was, all right, fine. If obviously this is not a great time for Chicago or Illinois to be looking at ways to be handing out money or helping people financially. So we said, look, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you just take off the restrictions that prevent us from generating a lot of the revenues that other teams have, and I'll use those revenues to put back into the park. And I think that's a situation that works well for us. I don't know if that's something that will work for anybody else. So I just think our situation is unique, and I wouldn't really compare it to anyone else's.
Well, it was good to visit with you when I threw out the first pitch last year. So good luck with all the improvements there, and let us know when it's all nice and shiny, and then we'll come back again.
Well, come back and see us before then, but let me know when you're in town, and we'll let you throw out another pitch.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, take care, Dan.
All right, that's Tom Ricketts, Cubs owner. Official invitation. I'm not throwing out the first pitch until the Cubs make the playoffs. All right? Yeah, sorry, Paulie.